Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to the weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 42nd Commitments of Traders report of 2021. And as we always do, we shall start by looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. But before we jump to the review, a reminder for those of you who are new to this data, the analysis here at COTBase.com, you can find all the information you will need to understand how you can benefit from this information that the Commodity Futures Trading Commission provides us. We also have some very useful videos out that will guide you through the analysis process, how you can benefit from this wonderful data. Back to the review, and starting off with our first market, the sugar market, where we have that 42% change in commercials positions based on a 52 weeks look back period. Of course, you can see commercials represented with this red line, and you can see the magnitude of that change and compare it visually to the past 1 year. It's definitely much greater than average, one of the largest changes in the past 1 year, let's say top 5. And it is coming after a decline that's been present in the market for roughly 2 weeks now. So I think it's not a bad signal that you might want to consider. Definitely it's a short-term signal. If we move on to the 5-year chart, you can see that we've been actually more in a bearish COT Extreme zone. So that's something you should keep in mind. We have not seen a huge shift in the trend yet, so it's still upwards. It's easy to see. You don't have to draw any trend lines. You can see that. But yeah, it's worth noting that we are actually still close to bearish extreme levels. You can see some examples of bullish extremes, and we are definitely very far away from those levels. So the medium to long-term picture, definitely more bearish, I would say. Short-term signal, the COT chain suggests we may see a bit of a rise coming. Okay, another market for the review, the Euro-Japanese yen pair. Here we have a 38% change in commercials positions. You can easily see that this is top 2 based on, visually you can easily see that. This may be a larger change. I'm not sure, but it's, top 2. It is a bullish change signal pushing commercials to net long territory. Now, of course, we are talking about a currency pair. And by the way, a market that has a relatively short COT history dating back to 2017. I always say, when you have such a market, especially if you got a currency pair, you might as well want to analyze the separate markets. So euro separately, and then the Japanese yen separately to come to a conclusion. This in itself, of course, suggests that the euro may appreciate against the Japanese yen. We are closer to bullish COT extremes, but I would definitely not base my main judgment call on that. I'd rather go over to the euro and the Japanese yen currencies and analyze their COT reports separately. A metal market, the next one, very close to my heart. Silver, 30% change over there in commercials positions. This time we are talking about a bearish COT change signal, and you can see that it is quite a significant change size. Okay, looking back at this 1 year time period, it is definitely top 3. We have very large changes in net positions of commercials this week. This is coming after a couple weeks of rally in the market, so we're not surprised to see that. We may see a bit of a decline early next week based on that signal, but then again, you should always see everything in a complex way. And if you go back just a few weeks, you can see that we have been building towards a bullish extreme. I'm not saying that was huge. You can easily find much greater extremes if you go further back in time, but comparing that to the last, let's say, 2 years, it was somewhere over there. It can definitely move and reach even greater extremes. That would be, obvious that it's a bullish extreme. So we'll see which way the silver market is headed. But it's good to keep in mind that we have that significant change signal present in the market. That definitely draws some caution for those of you who are interested in the long side of this market. Moving on to large speculators, COT Extreme, we still got the Minneapolis wheat on top of our list with an all-time COT Extreme in large speculators positions. It's quite obvious that this is a bearish extreme, and as I always say, don't get too excited about an all-time extreme because they can be there on the horizon for many weeks, possibly months, before you see a reaction from the market. It's definitely good to know that there's a huge stress level built up in this market. So maybe it's not the best time going long and expecting the market to go even double as high as it's currently at. But of course we have seen that. That's called the commercial capitulation. It's something very rare, but does happen when commercials are getting margin calls and the market rockets up to outer space. We have a good example of cotton in our on COT page. The next market, the Japanese yen. We talked about the Euro-Japanese yen pair. So here we go. So this is what you would do if you're trading that market, that currency pair. You want to open Japanese yen and the euro separately. So here we have the Japanese yen with 157 report extreme in large speculators. Quite a significant extreme, as you may see. This is of course a bullish COT extreme coming after a couple months of decline, a year basically, I should say, roughly, yeah, more or less. The Japanese yen has been losing value, and as it has did that, of course, traders have been shifting their positions accordingly. Now, is this the time to go long? Who can tell? But definitely we are witnessing a bullish extreme that we have not seen for roughly 3 years, right? 157 reports, a report per week, so approximately 3 years. Interesting to note. Another currency, the dollar index, with 104 report extreme in large speculators. This time we are talking about a bearish COT extreme, which of course can easily continue its path to even greater extremes. Don't forget, this analysis technique is kind of a compass, right? You want to understand stress levels in the market, and there's the big saying, when there's no more buyers, the market will crash, right? And how do you know there's no more buyers? Well, the COT report definitely helps you understand that. So is this a turning point? It may be. We do have relative extremes that don't reach those all-time or close to all-time levels. You can always, of course, look at the entire COT history here at COT Base, and I think it's worthwhile doing because you can see that back in 2015, we had a much greater extreme. So, commercials are not even at 50,000 contracts net short, whereas in 2015, they actually reached 100,000 contracts net short. So it's worth noting because this means this trend, we had that bullish extreme in December of 2020, kind of signaling the bottom. It did make an even lower bottom, maybe, I'm not sure, but definitely is moving away from those levels. So we can conclude the signal was successful. Have we reached that bearish extreme that will push the market back down? Hard to tell. But we're definitely moving away from bullish extremes, that's for sure. Anyways, that's all for this review, but don't forget you can do so much here at COTBase.com. We, of course, only show you a few market categories, but we've got stock indexes, interest rates, and cryptocurrencies as well. COT report types. We offer all the newest COT report types that CFTC publishes. So not only the classic, or in other terms, the legacy COT report, but the disaggregated, the TIF, and the CIT as well. Also, we offer not only the futures and options data that we analyze in these COT reviews, but you can actually focus your attention on futures data, or we actually constructed the options only data, which I think is very unique. I've not seen it anywhere else. I think it's definitely something worth looking at. Of course, there are so many data sets that you might want to analyze. You can dig deep in your analysis by looking at multiple report changes on any defined look back period. So you can set that to a specific number that you're interested in. You can absolutely chart everything. We've got the COT index that you can add to the chart, the COT move index. We've got this long-term trend indicator, which is, I think, a very, very useful tool. Volume and open interest analysis. What a wonderful supplemental tool to COT analysis. Understanding, the strength that you can gather from this analysis is really, really valuable. If you're somebody who's trading a specific market, then you can definitely do that here. Just choose a market. Let's say the Australian dollar is what you're interested in, and here you go. The entire COT data on the Australian dollar over here in table format, but you can actually, look at the charts themselves separately. Of course, futures only, futures and options only. You can take down anything you're not interested in. You can download them, the images, and of course, if you are a pro subscriber, then you can actually even download the data set that you're interested in, export the data. And I would like to mention our indicators before I say goodbye to you. The COT Base Pro, which basically includes everything that you can see on the website, but you can use it in your own NinjaTrader application. COT Base also constructed the iCOT intraday indicator, which I think is such a fabulous tool for those of you who are more interested in a shorter time frame trading. It's available, by the way, in Ninja, CTrader, and TradingView. And this is our own data, so it's not coming from CFTC. We constructed this data, and as you may see, this is gold. It's a 1 minute chart. So we went into the micro level, and these charts do, in theory, follow the concepts of COT analysis. And of course, we have some very useful tools guiding you through your trades. Of course, a lot of videos and example charts here on the website for you. And that's it. I'm going to say goodbye to you. I hope you will have a wonderful weekend. I appreciate your attention, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. Take care. Goodbye.